I'm Zita, your guiding luminary. Thank you for joining me today. I was inspired to do a video that's a little different from what I usually do. I was watching a video that was done by Alexander Quinn. He's such a lovely little soul. He's got his own YouTube channel and he also has a Facebook group that I'm part of, and he supports a lot of people out there in their ascension process. And a couple of days ago, he posted a very interesting video about whether or not you're high vibration. Am I a high vibe? How do you know? And he gave some examples about how you might think you are a high vibrational being. He talked about being a little more invisible. People don't hear you. You might be talking to people and they can't seem to connect with you. And I think many of us are experiencing this with there's so much going on in the market, in the world. A lot of us are isolated. And so when we do go back out into the real world, it seems we've lost our social cues, how to talk to people. When people are wearing those things on their faces, you can't see the expressions, you can't see the smiles. And I noticed in the last few weeks that there's been kind of odd things happening to me, and maybe this has been happening with you. And Alexander mentioned this in his video, and when I saw it, I went, whoa, that happened to me. I put the information and links to his video in my description below, so you can watch the video if you haven't seen it already. And what he talked about, as I mentioned earlier, is that you become invisible. And it's interesting because I went for a walk with a friend a couple of weeks ago, and we're walking down the street, and there was this woman who was walking towards us. And she had a mask on, and she was looking right at us, and she kept getting closer and closer because as we approached, we were getting closer and closer. And I turned to my friend and I said, is she going to hit me? Or is she going to walk into me? Or what's going on? So I just waited, and instead of sidestepping, I stood there. And I waited, and sure enough, even though she looked right at me, she walked into me. I was prepared, so I had my hands out, and she just looked at me completely surprised that I was there. She looked at my friend. I kind of acknowledged her, but when she looked at me, it was this expression that's like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. But I can guarantee you she was looking right at us. And it's almost impossible for her not to have noticed me. I'm kind of tall, I'm about 5'7", 5'8". My girlfriend was a little shorter, but she noticed her and not me. And I thought it was really interesting. So we said, no problem. We walked away, and my girlfriend and I, we talked about it, and we realized that this is happening many times. You go into a store and you go up to the cash, and they kind of just seem to glaze their eyes over you. And then they went, oh, there's food on the conveyor belt. And they start scanning it, and then I kind of say hello or good morning or good afternoon, and they kind of, oh yeah, there's someone there. And another thing that happened to me very specifically, again, on another walk, I don't live too far from the water, so I went for a walk on a boardwalk. It was a beautiful day, middle of the afternoon, sun was shining, the water was flowing, the wind was blowing, the birds were singing. It was just a glorious day. I walked down, and I get to the end of the boardwalk, and there are these two gentlemen. They had to be in their 40s because I saw the gray beards, and they had hats and the whiskers, and you could see the gray coming through. And the two young men were talking to each other, and I kind of nodded hello to them, and I went on the side because I wanted to videotape the water coming together with another section of the water, forming this beautiful little river, and this connection I found very beautiful and spiritual, and there were ducks and whatnot. And so I was videotaping, and thankfully I was holding my iPhone because they were there with their scooters, and both of them had electric scooters, and one of the scooters ran right into me. And luckily I was holding my phone tightly enough that it didn't drop into the river. And I went, ouch, because it really hurt. And the guy looked at me, he went, oh my God, I didn't see you. And we were the only 3 people on this boardwalk, and it was a little place maybe 20 feet by 20 feet at the end. So there was a fence around us. So it was like, how could they have not seen me? It's not like I was in the middle of a road and there were 100 people. We were the only 3 people there. And they came to my aid because it really hurt. And I kind of buckled a little bit. And both of them said to me, oh, we're so sorry. We didn't see you. And I said, wow, how could you not see me? There's no one else here. And they said, no, sorry. I said, I even said hello to you. And they said, well, we're sorry. We didn't see you. And after a couple of minutes of just chatting, they ended up going off on their way. And I just stood there thinking, wow, this is really, really strange, because this is the second time it's happened to me in about a week or so. And last week was my son's birthday on the 7th. So we decided to go to a restaurant to celebrate his birthday. But before we went to the restaurant, we ended up going to a bakery or grocery store to buy some nice pastries or a nice cake to celebrate after the meal. We could come home and light the candles and wish him a happy birthday and sing happy birthday. So we're at the counter waiting to be served. There's no one else around us, just my son and I. We're standing there, and this baker or server is on the other side of the counter, and we're trying to get his attention. Well, I was personally, because I thought, okay, this is my son's birthday. I'm going to do all the work. So I'm standing there for a good minute or two, and then I said, excuse me, and I kind of popped my head a few times. And again, I'm kind of tall, so it's not like he couldn't see me over the counter, even though it's glass. You can see me, and my son is 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", so it's kind of hard not to see us. And then finally I looked at my son, I said, what's going on? He says, I don't know. So he called out to the young man, he said, excuse me, we'd like to buy some pastries. So the guy looked at us, he went, oh, sorry, I didn't see you. That was so strange. Again, like, how can you not see 2 people standing virtually in front of you, looking at you and talking to you? And my son and I kind of went, well, maybe he's tired or he wasn't focusing or something, but it just seemed kind of odd. And then he packed up the pastries we bought and he gave it to us, and we went to the cashier. And she kind of just stood there at the cash, kind of like glazed off on her own. And I went, excuse me. And she kind of looked at me, and it's like, and looked back in front of her again. I thought, wow, that is so strange. And it's not a store we normally go to, but it had nothing to do with the fact that we've been there before or not. It's just, it looked like she couldn't see me. And then again, my son, who's got a deeper voice, he went, excuse us, we'd like to pay for the pastry. She goes, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. And how could she say that? There was no one else around us. We were the only one in the store. It was just the most bizarre thing. So we took the pastries and we went across the street to the restaurant. This really, really nice restaurant, and I decided, okay, for once we're gonna splurge, have some fun and whatnot. It was a great Greek restaurant. My son had a taste for seafood and whatnot. I said, let's go spoil ourselves. So we go into the restaurant. Thankfully, we had a reservation. Maybe they wouldn't have seen us. So we walked in, and the hostess, showed us to our table. And within 5-10 minutes, the waiter came to see us, and he asked us what we'd like. So we ordered a bottle of wine, and we looked at the menu, and he brought us a little oil with some balsamic vinegar, and then he left. And 5-10 minutes goes by, we don't have the wine. He didn't come to get our order. He didn't come to see if we wanted anything to eat or what we wanted, if we had any questions. He didn't bring us any bread, and he didn't bring us any water. So I had to signal to the guy, and for about 5 minutes I couldn't get his attention. So then I ended up going up to talk to another waiter to ask him, can he please come see us, because we'd like to get an order put in. So finally the waiter came, and we asked him if he can get this bottle of wine we wanted. He said, sure, no problem. And he took our order, and off he went again. And again, the same thing. It took a while to get the wine. And it's not like the restaurant was full. It was early in the evening. It was only 6:30. So I'm in Montreal. Most people kind of go out later in the evening, 7:30, 8 for meals. And so the restaurant wasn't full. It was a medium-sized restaurant, maybe 15 people max. And there were like 3 waiters, so it's not like you couldn't notice us. So this went on the whole night. I had to convince him or get his attention to give us bread, to pour some wine and get the meal. And our entrees came at different points when they should have been brought in together. It just seemed so distorted and bizarre. You know, I ended up pouring wine for us. We ended up sharing appetizers because it came at different times. And thankfully, after the appetizer, I told the guy, please make sure the main course at least arrives at the same time because I wanted to enjoy the evening with my son. And throughout the whole evening, my son and I just talked about this weird experience that it seems like we were walking on the streets and there's a different energy flowing, and it almost felt like a movie where you're walking and people are kind of like have blinders on. It almost seemed like a zombie movie. That night it was kind of rainy as well and dark in Montreal, and Montreal's a rather large city. There was activity. There was a lot of people. It was still early in the evening, so it's not like the streets were deserted, but just people were like strange, you know. And so then my son and I came home and we enjoyed our cake, and that was great. And the other thing I noticed was that the last couple of weeks, and specifically on Wednesday into Thursday, I've been getting a lot of ringing in the ears. My sleep pattern is very distorted. I wake up very, very tired. I can't sleep, or I wake up too many times, and it's hard to fall back to sleep. So this has been going on for a long, long time. And another thing I noticed about a month ago was for about an hour, I felt my whole body vibrating. And I had never, ever had that happen before. I was lying in bed and it was a warm vibration, but every cell, it seemed, in my body was vibrating. And it shook me up a bit. It felt comfortable and pleasant. It felt like there was some kind of download coming through. So I didn't really panic. It's just I had never experienced that. And about 2 weeks after that, I had another funny sensation, again while I was sleeping. The bottom of my feet from the knees down, I could feel them vibrating again. And because I had had the body experience vibration a couple of weeks before, I wasn't too razzled, but I thought that was very interesting that the bottom of my feet were going through this vibration. So I'm not sure what it was. I did hear that when this can happen, that there might be like an upgrade in our body, because right now it's very heavily dense carbon and we could be becoming more crystalline. And I thought this was fascinating, so that maybe I'm feeling lighter. And I have noticed that I eat differently. I used to eat 3 meals a day, not big meals, but 3 meals a day. Now I'm down to 2 with a little snack. And I was never like that. I like my breakfast, my little lunch salads, and then at night I'd have a meal with my son. Now I find that's too much food, and so I eat later in the morning and then I'll have the main meal with my son again. So that's really weird. Maybe you're feeling that as well. So I'm hearing that this is also part of a new wave, a new agenda, a new ascension, that we're getting lighter, more crystalline. And I thought I just mentioned that's so interesting. And another third and final thing I've noticed is that around me, in my backyard, there's so many more animals and birds. Maybe I just never noticed. I don't know. It just seems my backyard has the most birds in the neighborhood, because where I am, I'm on a crescent, and in the back I share my backyard with at least 3 or 4 neighbors. And they all seem to congregate on my property. And I have a lot of squirrels coming to my house, so now I have to go out, and I bought bird seeds and I bought peanuts to feed them. I've had to buy cat food as well, because they're all kind of coming over to my backyard. And my son laughs and he calls me St. Francis of Assisi. I thought it was kind of nice and sweet for him to say that. But it's endearing, and now it's become a bit of a routine. For me, when I wake up in the morning, I have coffee, I throw out the bird food, I throw out some squirrel food, some peanuts, and I fill up bowls of water and cat food, because I know I'm going to have little friends who are going to come over and visit me, if not in the morning, later on in the afternoon. So, you know, I'm not sure what else to say, but it seems so sweet and nice to feel things are different. Things are, I'm hoping, more positive. I am feeling lighter. I'm invigorated every morning when I wake up to do something different, to have fun. I interact a lot more with my clients and my viewers on Facebook or YouTube or Telegram and even on LinkedIn. And it's become a very different experience because the people that were in my life before, and I'm sure many of you have this experience, are not connecting with me the same way. We're not calling each other as we used to. We don't see each other like we used to. And I find out that when I am with them, we have virtually nothing to talk about. And that's sad in many ways, because they've been my friends. I have friends for 15, 20, 30 years. And that's odd. And then on another perspective, people that I haven't talked to in 30, 40 years, all of a sudden have come back into my life. And we're getting together on a regular basis, virtually monthly. And it's such a nice experience to be connecting again with people you've lost a connection with for whatever reason. We are on a different life path. We went to different schools. People moved to different cities, got married, had children, got divorced, started new relationships. And also through my platform, social media platform, communication channels, I've met many nice people who've become friends that I would never have encountered had I not been on these platforms. And when I do communicate with them, when I do talk to them, we email, we message each other, whatever the venue or the method, the connection is so strong, and the understanding of where we are in life and appreciating each other's company or exchanging of information, conversation, challenges, they've become very fast friends. It's obviously, I guess it's got something to do with the vibrations, you know, like people are coming and they go, or you attract new people who are vibrating. So I guess depending where you are on the day, in the week, or in the month, and depending what you're experiencing, your body vibration changes. So you send out these energies to others to connect with you. And like two peas in a pot, I guess. And I just wanted to share that today because I found it very fascinating, and I know a lot of my clients are experiencing this because it's become like the topic of conversation. So I want to thank Alexander Quinn, who brought this up, because it clarified a lot for me, helped me understand that what I'm experiencing is normal, that there are many other people living this experience as well, and that it's a good thing. We're moving in the right direction, and I'm hoping everybody will be able to relate this to this video and perhaps share it. So without further ado, I want to thank you for listening to me and sharing this video with your friends. It's a new channel, so I would appreciate it if you like and subscribe and share it with your friends to help it grow, so that I can share more videos with you, more oracle card readings with you. And if you like some coaching session, or even participate in one of my learning workshops on Learn It Live, all the information is in the description below. So thank you again for listening to me, and I hope to see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.